right, confirm and go live. Clicking the button. Are you sure you want to start streaming? I am wanting to go live. Very good. What is up, everyone? This is Toan Tran. I'm super excited today to launch the 2020 perspective with a special friend of mine, an entrepreneur, a hustler. His name is Nam Hoang, so stay tuned for the 2020 perspective. What is up, Nam? How are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Very good. Glad to have you on today. So, everyone, I'm super thrilled today to interview this man. He's an old friend of mine of many years. But the reason why I'm bringing him on because he's an entrepreneur. He's a hustler through the years, and I want you to introduce his business, his side hustle. He is a corporate man, but he does have a side hustle. And I want to share his story to all of you guys as this is the first launch of the 2020 perspective. He's a person that's inspired me to actually go ahead and start doing this, having the interest of doing it. I've been researching it and thinking about it for like months. And I'm just thrilled to have him as a guest today to really um, talk about his story because I think his story is very important to everyone out there. So Nam, tell us about your business, your side hustle, and tell us just about yourself a little bit here.
All right. Well, I'll start with what my current career, where I'm at. I'm a UX designer for American Airlines. I've been doing UX design for past 3 or 4 years, maybe 5. Formerly, I was at HD Vest Financial Services, doing senior design consulting. Also on the side, just to stay creative, I do design work, brand design, web design. That's kind of my side hustle right now. The goal for these upcoming months is to really launch my new brand along with my fiance. We're working on a brand called Pen and Pixel Media. We want to really push marketing, branding, and web design. I've been doing web design for years. I have several clients through, DFW, even out of state. I've picked up on clients just through references. So
Yep.
yeah, really just trying that business reach out to smaller businesses that need brand and web design.
And I'm a client of his, for many years for multiple practices or businesses out there, from optometry to fitness to salon business. So I definitely vouch for his work. And you see the information I have below here. It's his information. You can contact him if you're interested at info@penandpixelmedia.com. He just launched this, so there's going to be some social media that goes with it as well,
Right.
right? But
Yep.
but tell me, how did you get your idea or concept for this business?
Well, like I was saying, I've been doing creative work for over a decade. I've helped local restaurants. I've helped businesses like yours, just help design concepts for your brand, help market to like print and the web. And now what I'm trying to do is find a way of structuring that into a business that I can streamline it, bring in other designers, and just really help small businesses around me. With the help of Nico, my fiance, she's a great writer. She's very good at what's it what would you call it? She's very good at processes, and she could really help streamline what I'm doing because I'm kind of, as a creative, I'm kind of all over the place. I try to jump on one thing and then you know my ADD kicks in and I jump on something else. So, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that I work pretty hard on on what I'm inspired by. So if I find inspiration in something else that draws my attention to this particular work, I will like ride that wave.
Yep. And I think to your point, you're saying, you're the creative behind it, and Nico's
Hmm.
going to be your organizer, your process person to kind of put it
Yeah,
all together.
she's gonna help. She's gonna help keep everything aligned, efficient. Make sure the content is nice and packaged well.
Yep, absolutely. I agree. Like as a entrepreneur, I think that's one of the biggest things that you got to understand what you're strong at and what you're weak at, and how do you get better by surrounding yourself with the right people to make your business successful, right? Like, I mean,
Right.
you would agree with that, right? Like you know how to do these things,
Absolutely.
but how do you capitalize
I
on
do,
them?
but yeah, it's like you're saying, you really at some point in time you really need to recognize what your strengths are, and some people say, well, if you need to figure out your weaknesses and try to get better at them. I say find somebody that can fill in those gaps, and you focus on what you're good at.
Yeah, for sure. So tell me, I guess tell our audience, what specifically do you offer in terms of, if they were a small business, let's just name it out there. Let's say you're a restaurant, and you what
So
do you
if you're a
do?
restaurant, if you're a restaurant, typically what you'll need some type of print marketing, whether it's like advertisement, if you need like an ad done, or you have business cards, menus that you need to, like to go menus that you need printed out. Um, I take care of all that from concept, the design concept, filling in all the filling in your actual menu for print, and I can actually get it printed as well, in bulk for that matter. And then also, we live in a day where everything is done through your phone. We build websites, we build mobile sites, um, and like again, we keep it all within your brand, and we make it easy to use.
Absolutely. I think that's something that's super important for business owners to understand, is like, when you are focused on your business and you need someone to create your brand, your marketing, your print, your
Yeah,
website, your mobile, it's like you don't want to go to five different places who don't really understand you. You want to go with one person. I think that's really what's helped me working with Nam through the years, is we've worked together for so long, and he asked me the right questions to help, figure out what I want. And at the same time, he's able to intake what I'm visualizing. I don't know how to
right.
do graphic design or anything like that. So I gotta let the experts do that. So for me, Nam's able to take, ask me the right questions and take what I'm wanting in my head, and put it down on what I need. And I think it's so important to have it all in one spot, to make
Yep.
you succeed, right? So I guess, tell me, you know, what makes you different from maybe other people out there, like Minuteman Press. You're pretty familiar with Minuteman Press. You've worked with them in the past, for them in the past.
Um, I think what makes me different from others, but I mean, I'm sure there are other people that use this type of model too. I really try to figure out what it is that you need. Like what is it that you need for one, and two, if it's in line with branding, if you're a new business and you're trying to figure out, well, what is my brand? I really try to dig deep into what your vision is for your business, and I really try to make that a reality. Like I try to build something or create something that you can get behind and you can have confidence in, and I get that feedback from pretty much all my clients. The care, the customer service that I provide, and the level of detail, and I provide crisp, sharp, professional design.
Gotcha. I agree. You know, I guess from a person who, let's say, is in the restaurant business and really doesn't know anything about, branding or print logo. I guess before they come to you for, a quote or just to talk, a consultation, what would you advise these type of business owners do before they even come to you and talk to you?
What would I advise them to do as far as like trying to understand like how to handle their brand, or where they should go market, or if they need a website, or
No,
what is it?
let's say they are ready. Their place is under construction. They are ready to start
Mhm.
figuring out the logo and all that stuff. Like, what do they need to come with you in terms of in their head? What do they need to know before sitting down with you?
I mean, honestly, I think they should have at least looked around at their competitors, see what they're doing, see as far as branding. If there's something that sparks their interest, if there's certain designs that they like, you should really be on the lookout for that. I mean, this is something as a designer that even I do. I'm always looking at concepts out there, seeing what's really eye catchy. Trying to look at the meaning behind the brand, um, and I just gather those ideas. And typically, if a business owner isn't doing that, I'm going to talk to them. I mean, if they come to me and approach me, I'm going to talk to them and try to get those ideas out, or find a way to like help them get to that concept in their own mind. I mean, I'm not trying to drive it themselves. I do have certain clients that will say, well, I don't know. You're the professional. You tell me what I need.
Right.
And sometimes I'll just offer up suggestions. I'll come up with concepts that based off, my conversations with them, and based on the business that they're in. And we just go from there. And it's a journey.
It is absolutely. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you know me. Like sometimes I'll just come up with something. I'll just throw it at you, and we'll just start
Yeah.
brainstorming, right?
It's nice to work with clients that have an idea of what it is that they want, because when you can provide them a concept on paper that matches what they're envisioning in their head, the confidence they have in their brand is so much stronger, and their ability to take that even further. I mean, you just heighten that.
Right. Absolutely. So so I guess for from a business perspective, I guess from a personal perspective, what inspires you in terms of what motivates you when someone gives you something? How do you expand on it from a designer aspect?
Wow. I mean, every client's a new challenge. I would say that's a tough question. Um, yeah, that's wow. Next question. Next question. That's too tough. That's
Hey,
tough.
I tough. Told you I was gonna
Yeah,
throw some tough
that's
ones at
tough.
you.
I
It's
mean,
all good.
I think because I'm in the grind of my corporate work, and I try to stay as creative as possible. When I get the chance to meet these business owners who have like all like they're all in on their business. I know photographers like this, and they're really, they really want something special in their brand. They really want something special in their logo.
Mhm.
It's like the challenge is just, I think for me, is just like, am I going to be able to capture this idea?
So it's
For
a
me, that's
challenge,
that's really, it's a challenge just to capture this individual's idea, because everyone's different.
right?
Um, so just trying to capture what their idea is, put their passion into their brand is, it's a challenge.
Absolutely, very good. Um, so for those of you just joining in, this is Nam Hoang joining me from Pin and Pixel Media. Um, he's a graphic designer, developer, media man that is doing this on the side. He's a corporate man as well, and I want to introduce him because he's got a lot of talent. He works really hard, and he's an entrepreneur, and that's the main reason why I brought him on, because he's an entrepreneur. This is just a little background on what he does, but the real story behind this is I want everyone to get to know his backstory a little bit more. Um, you know, Everyone has experienced failures and hardships in their life, and you have your story of your own. I want you to kind of talk and think back to 15, 20 years ago and how your journey, because I'm going to say it's, you don't have a college degree. And a lot of people out
I
there
don't.
that don't have a college degree, they think, I can't make it into the corporate world. And you were one of those people at one point in time.
Right.
So what was it that helped you grind and get through life without, believing that you needed a college degree, supporting yourself, and then finally getting to that point?
Well, I will tell you this first and foremost. When you're young and you're in your early 20s, you do a lot of stupid stuff. You think you know the world because you've spent 18 years at home with, and you're going to like public school. You think you know the world. You go out and you start experiencing new things, and yeah, you just do a lot of dumb stuff. But one thing that stayed with me in my early 20s, and it seemed to be a repeating like echo in my ears, is that everyone's like, school is so important. You need to go to school. And I kept, I don't know, I kept trying and I kept failing. Like I wouldn't stay consistent with it, and I would drop out. I would jump in a semester and drop out. And that was rough, man. It tanks on your confidence. But I think at some point, mid 20s, you're just like, all right, well, what am I going to do now? You see people progressing in life, and you're just kind of sitting still. I mean, there's other factors are involved as well, but I'm not going to get into it. I'm just going to say that I had this desire in me to not sit still anymore. And while I had this desire, I didn't really have like the know-how. Like, what am I supposed to do? I kept thinking I needed to go back to school. But luckily I had a good support system around me, people that kept it real with me. And they told me like, hey, don't take this easy route. You need to jump into the workforce. You need to learn what it means to really hold a job in your field, the career that you want. And that's when I jumped into the print business, and
Yep.
I worked for Minuteman
Mm-hmm.
for 3 years.
Yep.
And the funny story about that is I actually did I interviewed for the job, which I got. I got the interview through a friend. I interviewed for the job, and I turned them down. I turned them down, and then I remember going to, and I'll just say it. I'll just say I went and met with you at a coffee shop,
Yeah, I
and
was
I said,
studying.
oh
I
yeah,
was studying for boards. So yeah.
yeah, you were studying for what? I went to a coffee shop with you, and we're sitting there, and I'm doing my side work because at the time I was freelance designing,
Yep.
thinking that that was the best thing to do.
Yep. Shout out to Tony Dow, by the way.
Yeah, Tony Dow, you're the man. Uh,
Entrepreneur, right there.
Best entrepreneur. He should
I
be
need
the
to get
next
you
one
on
you
here.
interview.
Yep.
So I sat there and I told you while I was designing flyers for him, like, oh yeah, I interviewed with Minuteman, and you were like, well, what happened? I was like, oh, I just didn't feel like doing that type of work. And then you looked at me like, are you crazy? Like, why would you do that? Like, you need a steady income. You need steady income. You need a stable job. You need to just go work.
Yeah.
Can you get it? It's like, can you go back and tell them that you can get a job?
Yeah. For
And
sure.
so I called the manager. I came up back up there and I said, hey, is this job still open? He goes, yeah, but what changed your mind? Like, what? I was like, I was just being dumb, man. I don't know. You know,
You're
I
lucky
just
they
thought,
took you in.
yeah, I got lucky that he even allowed me to come back because that was
Yeah.
embarrassing, man.
Hey, but that's what you have to go through, in life to learn how to move forward, right? Like you have to make mistakes. You have to fail, right? Everyone
Yeah,
has to fail. Don't You can't be afraid to fail. You just got to do it, right?
yeah, absolutely. And I will say the first few months at that job, it was really rough because I think what I learned was, there's a lot of shit that you don't know,
Yeah.
and you are on the spot and on a timer to figure that out. And I got a taste of it because, freelance, you work at your own pace. And yeah, you'll have clients that say, oh, I need this now. But I mean, when you work freelance, it's at your own pace. Like it's not a 9 to 5.
Yeah. Yep.
Um,
So speaking of time, well, we're going to talk about time here. You're holding a corporate job, right?
yeah,
So your hours are at least 40 hours a week, and
right.
then some. And then so how much time do you feel like you spend on the side? For those people who are wondering, like that want to be an entrepreneur, that want to be a business owner or start a side business, like how much time are you putting in on the side per week on top of everything else?
See, that will vary though. That will vary, and
Yeah.
Nico can attest to this. There's sometimes I come home and I spend an extra 4 or 5 hours on work. There's sometimes I come home and only spend like 30 minutes. It really depends, because that's how freelance is. But yeah, there was one month where she was just like, "Hey, you've been working. We haven't really spent any time together." And I was like, that's when I had to stop. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I need to, balance. I need to balance this out because
Yeah.
I can't just be too so consumed in work.
Yep. Yeah, you kind of segued into my next question was like, some of us may be single and you have all the time in the world, and
Yeah,
if you are, that's when you need to really push really hard, right?
absolutely. I would say to anyone out there, if you are single right now, the best thing to do, don't look for love. Look for like love yourself and figure out a side hustle. Work,
Yeah.
build up whatever it is that you want in your career and your life.
Your
Like
love will
this is
come with you,
that's
come
the
to you.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Your
mean you
love will
can
come
do
to
it
you.
when you're with someone, but I'm saying like when it's just you solo, it needs to be pedal to the floor. You need to be like about yourself and growing.
Yep, for sure. And now that you have a relationship, someone else to share your life with, how what do you do to balance that out? Like what do you mentally do and change to help you balance going from single to now, having a fiance?
Try your best to keep them involved in what you're doing. I know I'm bad about that sometimes, but it's because a lot of conceptual thinking goes on in my brain, and it's very random and it's constant. But keeping them involved, and then also making sure that you're nourishing relationships because uh, side hustles are great. Working at your craft is great, but you know what? Relationships are just as important because the people around you that they support you, they care about you. You need to be there for them because they're there for you.
Yeah, for sure. Like my biggest supporter is Cindy, and I would like to say that I'm her biggest supporter as well. And you need to surround yourself with good people and people who motivate you. And I think that's something that's really important when you're an entrepreneur, a small business owner that's going through hardships, right? Like right now, a
Right.
lot of people are going through hardships, and it's hard to be positive. Like so many people are out there like giving up, right? And for me, it's like it's time to innovate. It's time to step up your game. It's time to do
Yeah,
all the things that you were not able to do prior to this COVID-19. And it's just staying busy, right? I guess not staying busy is what's going to put people into a darker hole. That path, right?
I agree.
Yeah.
I want to send a shout out to my friend David Loy, who I've worked with him. I've helped him kind of rebuild his brand under his commercial brand. I mean, he's been hit by the quarantine. He's lost a little bit of business, but he's trying to stay focused on building up his brand and getting ready for when things open back up. So shout out to him. I've helped him in any way I can, but he's taken that initiative and he's stepped up. So
Yep.
salute.
Yep. Absolutely. That's super important. Staying positive and doing what you can to really keep your business afloat. The government's here to help us. So if you can use that to stay afloat, do it. But otherwise, keep stay positive. That's super important.
Yep.
Um, so before we close out here, I do want to ask you if there was anything that you could change as an entrepreneur, knowing what you know now. If there was maybe one thing, maybe that you could change, what would you have changed or done differently?
What would I have done differently as an entrepreneur?
As an entrepreneur, right? Like all your side hustle, all the things that you've done in the grind, like what would you have done differently? It's a hard question.
Mm,
It's a
that is
lot of
extremely hard
thinking.
question.
Yeah.
Um,
There's so many things, right? Or you can give me top three if you want. I mean, I'm just trying to give people out there some insight on an entrepreneur's mind.
I I would say I would spend a little more time organizing my assets, probably, just because, like, from a designer standpoint, that's very important. And uh, too often you find yourself working too fast, and
Yeah,
you can lose assets, and that costs you time.
yeah,
So
time,
staying organized is pretty important.
super important. That's my biggest thing, is staying
Yeah, yeah,
organized.
yeah. It's something that I've had to learn through the year. I remember, I will say this, through the years, I remember I used to tell people, yeah, calendar. I don't use a calendar. I remember
Some people
events.
still don't. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm a big calendar person now. Like, if it's not in the calendar, it's 100%. I'm going to forget it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and it's not
Organization.
even old age. People don't even realize it's not old age. You have more responsibilities now than you did when you were in your 20s.
Yeah, yeah. As you get
So
older, yep.
yeah,
Yeah. So if you're that high school, graduating high school, college person that is trying to do side hustle work and do side and go to school, which I'm gonna tell you I did when I was in college, right? Like
hmm,
being organized, planning things out, and being able to be efficient in that is gonna help you grow much faster
yeah,
versus winging it and trying to use your brain to remember a lot of things, right?
yep,
As you get older, you forget more because you got more on your plate. So
yeah.
you
So
have to
why
use it.
waste that? I mean, that's a lot of capacity that
Yeah,
you're wasting for something that you can
absolutely.
use for something else. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Well, thank you, my brother,
Thank you. I
getting on
really
with me.
appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah, and you know,
Go
stay well.
Cowboys.
Go Cowboys. We don't have any sports, but for those of you out there that's still tuning in and joining us just now, like this is the 2020 Perspective launch. My name is Toan Tran. It's a new channel. It's a new brand. Nam's helped me kind of built it myself, and I'm really excited because I've wanted to do this for a while. You can look right now. It's down there. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. It's called the 2020 Perspective. I'm also on Twitter. It's T2020P. Obviously, I'm using my personal page, some of my other outlets to kind of funnel everything in, but I've decided to go really hard. But the main thing is, what I want to do is really share stories um, of people who've gone through entrepreneurships or is an entrepreneur that has a small business to share their story, what they're doing to other people who don't have the resources or afraid to ask. Like, this is the thing, we're all about sharing right now and caring for others. And I think that's really important moving forward. And I want to support all those young entrepreneurs, all those small business owners that are afraid just to ask for advice, right? Like, there's plenty
Hmm.
of advice to be given. You just have to ask. And maybe this will allow people to contact you, me,
Right.
someone that I interview. There's so many people I can name off the bat right now. Tony Dow, Tang Win out there hustling, Joey and Chi, people that inspire me, Sep, so many small, Michelle, Tasty Tells, um, so many business owners out there, Eugene Park, like so many, man, it's crazy. Like they're Mary Wong, OMG Taco, shout out. Like these people are working so hard in these times when everyone thinks it's so rough. And that's who you need to learn from, in my opinion, right? Like if you're a restaurant,
Yeah.
how is this restaurant getting by? If it's not at 100%, maybe they're at 70%, but that 70% may be your 100%. You know what I'm saying? So this is what this is about. And I want everyone to be open and feel free to contact me, Nam, through the 2020 Perspective. I'm going to record videos. I'm going to do journeys. I'm going to be on Twitter. I'm just going to try to push as much information as I can out there. But I need you to help me push that information too, because your information will help um, open it up a lot more. Anything you need to say, brother, before we sign off?
No, just thank you for having me. And yeah, my information's below.
Yep.
Reach out. I'm here to help in any way. If you are a small business owner and you're struggling with all the, I mean, I know the media can really drown you in negativity, but
Yep.
there's some positive things going on around you.
Yep.
Just reach out to people who are trying to make a change too. We're,
Yep.
we're all here to help each other.
Absolutely. Big love on that, man. So thanks for joining me, Nam. You have a
Yep.
blessed day, sir.
You too.
Everyone else, have a great weekend. This is the 2020 Perspective with Pin and Pixel Media. Thanks, guys. Stay safe, stay well. Peace out. Good shit. Good shit. Good shit, bro.